Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are here to talk about money, which is a very important topic to all of us, especially as women. So we are really excited to have you on board on today's discussion. And we have a speaker. Her name is Wangoi Maranga Okelo. She is going to be talking to us about money because she is a money specialist. Yeah, she trains, she deals with money, so she has a lot of experience with money, and so she's going to take us through the session today, and we are going to try and make it as brief as possible. So let's get right into the presentation. So Wongoi, welcome. We are ready to hear from you today.
Thank you very much, Melissa, and good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Wangoi Maranga Okelo. And as you can call me, in the financial industry for over 20 years. My background is in investment management. My background is really has been to take care of other people's money, mainly pension money. That's what I did for very many years. And over and above that, I also am very passionate about educating women about understanding everyday women's issues and holding their hand and being able to take them through the journey of finances and financial freedom. So without much ado, we can go straight into the presentation. Melissa, you can move the slides. I'm going to put off my video just in case the bandwidth is not good enough. So let's go to the next slide. So, ladies, we just want to start off by asking ourselves these questions. If this is your story, even if you answer one of these questions, this forum is for you, and we can you're in the right place, and we can work together. If any of these sound familiar, just tell yourself, yeah, I'm in the right place. So let's start. Do I make money every day, but I don't know where it went? Do I put my business money and my home money all in one basket? Do I think that MMF is money market funds? Do I think money market funds are for rich people? They are not for me, and therefore I didn't even be thinking about them, and I don't even have a savings account. So why should I start going into such financial investments when I haven't got started with the other things? Did I take a mobile loan to pay a debt, and then now I have few debts? Can I tell whether my business is doing well or it's not doing well? Am I profitable? Am I not profitable? And every month that I'm trying to save, I try to, but then an emergency comes up and then I go back to square one. I'm sure all of us have been in this situation. I certainly have many times. And if you have also, I think let's work together to see how we can get out of this story so that we keep saying, no, this is not my story. So if we move on to the next slide, we'll start with the root problem. And many times, sometimes when I started this financial journey in professionally, I always wondered why we never learned this in school. And I know I'm a Kianda alumni, but it's not Kianda's fault. It's 844's fault that we never had these talks about money in our syllabus well enough. It was a business topic. If you didn't do business, then you didn't get the skills. And I think business skills are life skills. Don't you agree? And I think this is something that should be incorporated in the syllabus, probably even from primary school. But here's the root problem. Many of us will start our businesses, whether it's a small business, a kiosk, a shop, running a clothes business from the back of your house or wherever it is. You want to start a business. The problem that arises from here, because we do not have enough education on how to run the business is many times you find that your business money and your home money, they live together. So that's where the suffering starts. You start mixing both of these funds together. So if you look at the business, how it's suffering, for example, these are four examples that you can see on your screen. You take your stock money, the money that you are supposed to use to stock your shop or your business, and you use it to pay rent for your house. Now you can't stock. Or you can't tell whether you've made a profit this week or a loss this week. Why? Because you don't keep any records. You also, some customers come to your business, they ask you for they ask you to buy some stock on credit, they'll pay you back. Either they don't return the money or you don't collect because you can't remember because you didn't keep records. Then another thing is because again you don't have records, we think your business is doing badly, but it's actually doing fine. Or vice versa. You think you're doing okay, but your business is actually doing badly. Then on the home side is also suffering. Why is it suffering? Because everything is mixed together. Then now your business has an emergency. It needs some money. What do? You take money that was meant to be for school fees to go into the business, and then you have no money. As a result, sometimes you can go into debt. Many times we do. Another example is that you pay yourself nothing because everybody needs, the business needs, the school needs, what needs, everything needs, but you don't pay yourself first. And what happens after that is when you don't have a discipline of paying yourself a salary, saying, this is my salary based on the business profits, I will pay myself X amount. What do? You just keep taking from the business as and when we need it. So you don't even realize that you may be taking more from the business than what the business can afford to pay you. Another example is that kids go without because the business had a bad week. Again, why? Because everything is in one pot. Another example, and this is a very bad example that I hope we never take, and I know some of us do. We take a mobile loan to cover what the business already took. So some of these are the things that put us in a trap, and that trap can put us in a hole that just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper to a point you wonder, how am I going to get out? So let's look at the ways we can come out. By the next slide, we can move to the next slide. So the number one thing that we should do, the suluhisho, is separate your money. You don't even need two bank accounts. You don't even need one bank account at this point, but you do need at the very least two types of wallets, one for your business and one for your house. How do we do that practically speaking? We all have phones, we all have Safaricom, we all have M-Pesa. Have two M-Pesa wallets. Those work perfectly. One for your business money, as I mentioned, and one for your home money. Your business money can be, for example, Pochi la Biashara. All your money for the business goes in there first. Then, if you need to restock your goods, if you need to pay business expenses like rent, transport, whatever it is, electricity, whatever it is, it's coming from Pochi la Biashara. All your sales, the money is coming in. If you need to do any repairs for your business, the money is coming from there. Also, your salary is coming from there. So because your business hopefully is going to be making you some money, you will also be getting a small salary from there, from Pochi la Biashara. That salary is what is going to move into your home money, your home wallet, your normal M-Pesa wallet. And on the other side, on the blue side, that is where your home money is, your normal M-Pesa. That is where you will now pay all your home expenses, whether it is school fees, whether it is food, transport, rent, emergencies. even your personal savings contributions, your entertainment, that will come from the second wallet, your nyumba, your home wallet. Don't mix the two. That's the first thing that we should remember. Do not mix the two. Do not pay school fees from from poching na biashara, and do not restock your goods from your M-Pesa wallet. Okay? So if we go to the next slide, another thing that we noticed from the questions that I asked previously, I asked some questions, and many of them had to do with not keeping a record. When you don't know whether your business is doing well or not, when you don't know what your customers owe you or not, when you don't know if you made a profit for the month or not. The reason many of these things happen is because you don't have a record. I said, what we are trying to do today is start with the journey of financial freedom with what we already have. So we may not we may not have a computer today, but we have a notebook. If we don't have a notebook, you can buy from the shop. It costs 30 book and a pen. Get your notebook. Starting today, your finances, your home finances, as well as your business finances. As I said before, separate the two. Once you separate the two, if we start with the business, your business, record everything. Number one, start with the money that's coming in. Every time you open your shop, what did you sell? If you have a clothes shop, you sold 2 blouses, each for 400 shillings, that's 800 shillings in. Put a date, put a column, put the date, what you sold, how much you sold it, that is money in. You must have spent some money out. What did you spend that money out? Maybe you had some expenses that the business needed to pay for. Maybe you even had to restock. Put that money as money out. What you do now at the end of it is that every week you have a reconciliation, or you consolidate. You have your daily records, and at the end of the week you consolidate. You see at the end of the week what it is that you got, what the money that came in, the money that came out, and what is left. One of the key things that you should see that there's a problem and you need to monitor. If your stock has been going down, unless you were robbed, it means that you sold your stock. Sibio, if you sold your stock, what does that mean? It means money came in. If that money comes in, if that money is not coming in and stock is also going out, then we have a problem. So there are some key things that you have to make sure that for the records that show the money coming in must reconcile with the stock that's going down. Okay? So as I said, every week, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, whichever your free day is, have a weekly check. What was the total money that was received? How much was it? What was the total money that came out? How much was it? Did I pay myself this week? It's very important. Pay yourself first. Is your stock okay? Is your stock at the right level? Which means if I started my opening or when I started the business on Monday, I had stock worth maybe 1,000 shillings. Now I have a stock worth 500 shillings. It means I also must have cash or equivalent of 500 shillings. If that 500 is not 500, at least you can tell where that money went. Okay, so we need to reconcile those two. Do I have any debt? Rally should be paid, and I will talk about debt management in a bit because that is something that puts us in a lot of trouble. And have I put even a small amount away as savings for an emergency? Now, those are the kind of things that you should have in your notebook and record every single day, and then have a weekly check either on Saturday or on Sunday. Then, if we go to the next slide, we'll understand now how your business is progressing, whether it is profitable, whether it is not profitable, and what your business is worth. So on the next slide, we thought about the record keeping of pesa inaingia na pesa inatoka. That simple way of looking at it is what accountants call your loss account. So money ikiingia na money ikitoka, the balance is your profit. That is your profit and loss account. Okay. So the simple formula on one column, money inayoingia, whether it is your sales, maybe you sold your chips, your uji, your sodas for, as the slide shows, 2,100, 650 shillings, cooking oil, 350 shillings. So your total sales is 3,100. That is the money that came in. Then you look at money that came out. Maybe you had to pay for charcoal or firewood or gas, for 250 shillings. Maybe you had to restock. You had to buy more unga, more oil, more tomatoes to make your food, the one that you're going to sell. Maybe you have rent you have to pay. And let's not forget, part of your expenses for the business is your salary. And I cannot emphasize that more, because what we are trying to do when you're running a business is trying to empower you as a woman to be financially capable. So your salary is also part of the business expenses. Okay. So then you have your total out. So at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you look at total in, I got my sales, 3,100 shillings. Total out, my expenses, I used 1,930 shillings. What is my profit? Faida yangu for the week is 1,170 shillings for the week. And if you do that week after week after week, assuming this is the same amount, then you make a profit of 4,700 a month. So this profit and loss, it just shows how much you have earned, but it does not tell you how much your business is worth. So on the next slide, we look at something called a balance sheet. Now I'm taking it through accounts, which I'm sure Susan and her team have taught you many times, but it's always good to remind ourselves. We have the P&L to show you what you have earned, and now we have the business balance sheet to show you what your business is worth today. So again, it's good to have some columns. Now, on the left column, what you have there is what I own, what the business owns. I am the business owner, so what I own as the business owner. I may have cash in hand from the sales that I made during the week. Okay, it's maybe cash in your pocket, in your wallet, or it is in your M-Pesa, in your pochi la biashara. Let's say it's 2,000 shillings. Remember, you have stock in there in your shop. That stock, maybe you did not sell everything. What you did not sell is also what you own, and because it can generate money today, it is an asset. How much is that stock worth? Quantify it and put it there. In this case, we've said it's 1,500. Okay, this is the amount you paid for, not what you're selling it for. Over and above that, your shop may have maybe your food kiosk may have fees that are being used to generate the income to run the business. Your decor, your sufuria, the display set stand, whatever it is your shop has, that equipment is also part of the assets. You bought them. Maybe they cost 5,000 shillings. So the total assets of your business, when you add up all those things, are 8,500. But that's not the full picture. That's not what your business is worth. Why? Because on the other side, you may have some things that you owe people. Maybe you took a loan to pay for this stock. That loan maybe is worth 3,000 shillings. Whether you took it from your Mshwari, your Fuliza, your Sapolo, you took it for the business. And that should be part of your business numbers. So say, for example, what you owe is 3,000 shillings. Maybe where you took credit for to get supplies for your shop. When you are buying this stock, maybe you told the supplier, I haven't paid you the full amount today. I'll pay you the balance next That balance is an OE. You also must put it in the records. When you put all those liabilities together, or what you owe together, and say from this slide on the second slide, it comes up, then the business is now worth not 8,500 shillings, but it is worth 8,500 shillings, what you own minus what you owe, the 3,000 shillings. And so that balance, 5,500 shillings, is what your business is worth today. Okay? What we are trying to do is always make that figure bigger and bigger and bigger. That's how you know your business is growing and it is becoming better. Okay? You don't want to be a point where what you are owing is more than what you owe. That shows that your business is in a point of self-destruct mode and it's about to collapse. So you want your green side to always be bigger than your red side, and the balance should always be increasing. That's how you know your business is getting healthier and healthier. Then, if we go to the next slide, you will see one of the things that we talked about in the balance sheet is what you owe. Okay? What you owe. Now, what you owe, those loans, there are so many. There are so many in the market. Some are so easy to get and some are so hard to get. But the point of this slide is deni ni tango. And deni can be a very, very dangerous trap. Loans are good. Debt can be good. Debt can grow your business, but debt can also destroy you and can destroy your business. So let's understand this debt that we have, because the only way you can understand, only way you can get out of bad debt is by understanding it and understanding how you got into it in the first place and understanding what type of debt you got into. Like I said, not all debt is bad, but many times this debt destroys us. Let's understand hii mtego ya Delhi, how we got into it. There's something called a debt cycle. You start off with a small loan. Before you know it, that loan has become bigger and bigger and bigger, and you don't even know how you came across it. A simple example is how it's been shown in this slide. So you get an emergency. We all get emergencies. Emergency natokea, you get an expense you didn't plan for. You don't have money for this emergency. What do? You take a loan. Safaricom these days has given us the opportunity to give us such easy loans, so long as you have your M-Pesa. Unaweza fuliza, unaweza chukua M-Shwari, they are there. So you quickly take a mobile loan haraka haraka. Utasema nitalipa when I get the next M-Pesa coming in, itailipa. But what you don't understand is that these mobile loans are so expensive. They are so expensive. An M-Shwari loan costs you about 7.5% per month. And I'll show you now the comparison on the next list. But let's continue. You take an M-Shwari loan for 7.5% per month. That is 90% per year. That 90% per year is more expensive than a sacco loan. It's even more expensive than a bulk loan. But because unachukua kidogo kidogo, you don't even think, because, if I only take 1,000 shillings from 2,000 shillings from M-Shwari, I'm only paying 150 shillings a month. Hiyo si pesa nyingi. Nikichukua bank loan, it would be a lot of money. But no, you don't think of it as the absolute number. You ask what is the interest rate, because your interest rate ndio mbaya. What happens? Mwisho wa mwezi, because life happens, you cannot pay your loan. You cannot pay your M-Shwari, you cannot whatever, your Fuliza. So what happens? You start rolling over these loans. When you roll over, the interest just easy. You're paying interest over interest. So the more you roll over, the more money you have to pay, the more interest you have to pay on your loan. At a point, you don't even have money to pay this loan. So what do? Unachukua loan ingine kulipa ya kwanza. At the end of the day, you find yourself with 2 loans. You don't even understand how that happened. When you started with a small emergency, what started off as a small emergency has now moved into you having 2 debts. And now you've sunk yourself deeper in a debt hole. You understand? So now if we go to the next, not the next slide, but the right side of this slide, you will see I've listed for you 4 types of loans here. The first 2 are from Safaricom, Mshwari and Fuliza. The third one is your SACCO loan, and your fourth one is your bank loan. I just want to help you understand how much it costs you when you borrow from these different types of loans. If you take an Mshwari loan, like I mentioned, it's 7.5% per month. So if you borrow 2,000 shillings, you're paying 150 shillings per month. Okay? If you decide to Fuliza, you borrow 1,000 shillings from your Fuliza. Fuliza is very expensive. They charge you an interest rate of, I think, 1% per day or something like that. So depending on how low you have your Fuliza loan, it can be anywhere 100% interest rate per year and above. Okay, so Fuliza is the most expensive loan that you can take. So when you borrow 1,000 shillings from Fuliza, you're paying 30 shillings a day. Every time you don't return that 1,000 shillings, it's 30 shillings, 30 shillings, 30 shillings, 30 shillings, 30 shillings. Before you know it, it's a lot of money. The third loan is your SACCO loan. And if you now borrow, say, from your SACCO loan, you borrow 10,000 shillings. The SACCO loan typically is about 12%, 12, 13%, but let's give it 12% here. If you borrow 10,000 shillings at 12% per year, do you know how much you're paying back for your SACCO loan? 100 shillings per month. Just compare that with your Mshwari, where, just look at the Mshwari, you've only borrowed 2,000 shillings and you're paying 150 shillings per month. You've borrowed 10,000 shillings from your SACCO loan and you're paying 100 shillings per month. When you look at the two, which would you go for? Obviously, your SACCO loan. Then there's your bank loan. Bank loan also, if you have a bank account, you can go for it. You can also borrow at between 14 and 15% per annum. At the same thing, if you borrow 10,000 shillings from the bank, you end up paying 120 shillings per month. Do you understand how sometimes we think that borrowing from a bank is more expensive? Afadhali I go and Fuliza or I take an Mshwari. And I hope there's no one here from Safaricom who is, because I'm not trying to discredit the products, but you're trying to empower ourselves. Safaricom also has a lot of great products, but I must say Mshwari and Fuliza are 2 products I will not market for them. But if you see how you can take your SACCO loan and it's way cheaper, then you will never take an Mshwari or Fuliza. What you will do, if you go to the next slide, is decide how you're going to get out of the debt you already are. Okay? So if you're already in debt and if you feel that the debt is stranding you, this is how we can get out of this debt. Okay, mpango wa kulipa deni. Tuanze sai, tuanze leo. Step 1, list all your debts. Madeni yako yote, whether they are from Fuliza, whether they are from your mother, whether they are from your who, all of them. Hata zile za aibi, zitoa zote. Don't let anything in the dark. Whatever stays in the dark, it festers. Remove it into the light. Write them all down because you cannot fix what you can't see. Once you have written all your debts, who you owe, how much you owe, what the interest is, when you are supposed to pay, put them all out in the light. Step 2, pay the most expensive first. And what have I told you? Your most expensive loans are those mobile loans. Pay there first because the longer they stay outstanding, the more expensive they get. Hata kama you borrowed a little, afadhali borrow a little from a sample, then a little from Mshwari. So pay your most expensive loans fast. Once you have paid them fast, stop using them. Usizitumie tena. Clear your expensive mobile debt first before you even start saving. Why? Because you can be trying to save, and every time you put money in your Fuliza, every time you put money in your Pesa, Fuliza comes for you. Fuliza comes for you, you know. So please, once you have finished paying your expensive debt, then now start thinking of saving. Okay. Step 3, no new loans. Don't take any new loans until that expensive debt is cleared. Don't take any new loans. If you can, jikaze, start building a small emergency fund, hata kama ni 500, so that you never need Fuliza again. In your head, say, I will never need Fuliza again. Start and build a small emergency fund. Once you have set up that emergency fund, then you can move over and look at switching your loans into something like a SACCO loan. Okay. So I don't know what circles that the ladies here are involved in, or whether they are chamas, but circles are very good ways of not only saving but also borrowing, as I mentioned to you before. Okay. Then we move on to the next step of financial freedom. In the next slide is looking at your budget. Okay. Plan ya pesa. Plan ya pesa kwa nyumba na kwa biashara. A budget is not a punishment. It's a promise that you make to yourself, and it's a promise that you try keep to yourself so that you can continue into your path of financial freedom. If you're looking, remember I told you have 2 different sets of books, one for your biashara and one for the house. So if you look at your budget for your business, okay? If you start with a budget, if you say you have a budget, just for argument's sake, I'm giving an easy number to work with. Let's say you have a weekly budget of 1,000 shillings for the week, okay, for your business. These are numbers I've given as an example. They are guiding, they are not set in stone, but they are a guide. When you look at that, see what works for you. You can say that mali yako ya stock ya biashara, maybe needs of the 1,000 shillings, maybe it needs 500 shillings for stock. Aya, put that aside for stock. Then you need to run your store, your shop, your kiosk. Maybe of that 1,000 shillings, you need 200 shillings or 20% to run your biashara, your shop. Put that aside. Don't forget that you need to have a salary. Otherwise, your nyumba will have problems, okay? So your home will have problems. You need to pay yourself also. So mshahara yako inaonekaje? Maybe of your 1,000 shillings, you can have 200 shillings as your salary. Put that aside. And then finally, it would be good, maybe it's not possible now, but it would be great to start having savings for your business in case of an emergency, in case the business runs into some issues that they need to pay more. So maybe that is another 10% or 100 shillings. But can you see what we are doing? We are planning our business. Tuko na plan. Si kuingia na kutoka bila plan. Tuko na plan. That's the point. And the same plan is the same plan you will carry to your home. There's no need of having a budget in your business and then nyumbani, you have no idea where your money has gone. It's the same thing. Kama kona budget ya nyumba I've saved for the month is 5,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, or whatever it is, the same thing. How much of that will go into food, rent, school fees, transport? Say 50% of that. How much do I need to even entertain myself, to take the children out for small trips, for airtime, for whatnot? Put 20%. Even in the home budget, I should have some savings. How much would that be? Maybe 10, 15, 20%. Do I have any debts over here too? Even that, put aside and make sure that there is a budget at the end of the month All of these things are catered for. Okay. Then, just to mention this part, guys, and I've mentioned it once or twice or thrice, um, that you need to pay yourself first, your salary. It's important that you pay yourself first. If you go to the next slide, you will see the importance of paying yourself first, and in the quest of financial freedom. Hata kama ni kidogo, hata kama unasema hauna pesa, there must be something you can put aside. Before you pay anyone else, just pay yourself first. Save a little. I said it every day. Have that consistency and that habit of saving every day. Let's have a simple method. In the morning, unafungua biashara, unatoa akiba kwanza. Okay, you remove that little amount of money for yourself before you even start the business. Okay, so that you don't start saying the business had so many things that, oh, I had to go into ABCD. By the end of the day, I have nothing. So even before you start the business, um, take a little bit from your business and set it aside as your savings. Okay, even if it's 50 shillings a day, even if it's 100 shillings, whatever it is, just form that habit. And you will see, kidogo kidogo, little by little, your savings do grow. If you save 20 shillings a day for 6 months, you get 3,650. For a year, you have 7,300. For 3 years, you have 21,900 just from 20 shillings. The more you save, maybe it's 200 shillings a day. By 3 years, you have 219,000 shillings a day. And these are figures that I've put, and you have not even put them in an interest earning investment, like a money market or a savings account, or even any other um, investment that can give you interest. This is just without interest. So the more that you earn little by little by little, the more you save, the more you're moving to a point of financial freedom. Then I also mentioned in the next slide, if we move to the next slide, I also mentioned the importance of a SAPO. Um, and the reason that I use a SACCO as an example is because a SACCO is something that we all know, that is all available in our lives, and we can all join. And it's something that actually helps you not only save, but also helps you borrow wisely. Okay, you're even in a SACCO, you may not borrow wisely, but at least it's better than the other loans that are quite unwise. So this is how to make a circle work better for you. Okay. If you're in a circle, very good. If you're not in a circle, join a circle, and maybe the team can tell us which are the best circles that are out there. But put a little bit of money every month to build your shares, okay? And it also helps to build your borrowing power, okay? So even if you put 200 shillings a month or 1,000 shillings or whatever it is per month, the more you put in your circle account, the more you can borrow, yeah? So you can qualify to get a loan at a lower interest rate than you would these other options that are readily available for you. Number two, a circle is gives you an interest. You borrow at an interest rate of about 12 to 15% per year, which I mentioned is much cheaper than the M-Shwine, for example, which when it looks little at 7.5% per month, it's actually 90% per year. Okay. And then a circle also helps you save money, and even that money inazaa pia, because what happens at the end of the year is that your savings gets a dividend at the end of the year, sivyo. So not only are you saving with a bid to borrow, but you can also save and get dividends at the end of the year. So that's a much wiser way of managing your money. Okay. When you do decide to borrow, let's say it's from your circle, from a bank, wherever it is, but always look at the interest rate and make sure that that interest rate, when you compare with the other options in the market, you're getting the best interest rate. Do not borrow for the wrong reasons, because even if you get a good loan that is cheap or whatever, but you're borrowing for the wrong reasons, you get yourself back in that old trap. Don't borrow for things for entertainment, like for parties or to buy a new phone, or or worse still, to pay for other loans. That's the worst thing that you can even do. But borrow for good reasons. Borrow for something that is going to benefit you in the future. Borrow for your business. Borrow for your own self development, that will know you're doing something that will help you become a better person to earn even better income in the future. Okay? So let's look at the different ways of saving in the next slide. Now, I know I talked a lot about I see somebody has raised their hand. Perhaps I'm about to finish. I can take questions later. Is that okay? Marisa, how do you want us to do it?
Yes. Let's take questions at the end of everything. You can just note them down or type them in the chat box, and then we will take them at the end.
Okay, fine. So when you look at the different types, I did mention that Safaricom does not have good loan products, but it does have very good savings products, and they are there on your phone. Please use them. You have Mshwari, you have KCB and Pesa, and you have ZD Money Market. They are great. You don't need anything. You don't need to do anything so long as you have already got a registered phone. Please look at them. They are great savings methods, and we can even start today. If you look at the next fund, the next slide, I think I'll go a little bit faster now in the interest of time. If you go to the next slide, a money market fund, which is something that you can find in your Safaricom app, called the ZD money market, is a very good way of saving. There have been many untruths said about money market, that, oh, it's only for the rich people, oh, I can't in here because of this and that. Anybody can have a money market account. You can start with 100 shillings with ZD MMS today. Even now as I'm talking, ukiingia kwa app yako *334# or in your Safaricom savings, Safaricom app, you will see ZD, and I think it's called M-Pesa Financial Services. Look at it, start saving there. It is not for the rich. It is not hard to enter. You will not lose your money, because it is also regulated by a body called Capital Markets Authority that makes sure that your money is safe under an MMF, and you can remove your money quickly. That even if you put your money in an MMF, you can remove it in 1 or 2 days, 3 days maximum. So it is very easy to save, and if there is an emergency, you can also remove it just as easily. So if we go to the next slide, your MMF should not be the end of it. It is only your foundation. There is also your destination. Here is where we are. We are saved. We are in a money market, but where I am going. We can start with protecting your money. This is what we went through quite a bit. Separate your business and your home money. Kill your expensive mobile debt. Build an emergency fund, 5,000, 10,000 shillings. That emergency fund you'll find in your ZD. You save it in your ZD account. Pay yourself a year's salary. Okay, si kutoa pesa as and when you feel like, but really budget your salary based on the strength of your business. Start growing yourself. That's step number 2. Okay. In year 1 to 3, you can reinvest in your business, get a bigger shop, get more supplies, get better goods, use your circle effectively, save monthly in your circle, borrow cheaply. get a chapa because the collective power of chamas is very, very good. And please, let's get into one habit, the habit of saving every day. Then the next step is to build. After you form that foundation, you can now start building on that foundation. Literally, maybe even you can start with a plot of land via your circle housing, for example. You can grow into other investments like a fixed income unit trust, and there are other unit trusts that CMA also has. As you're growing your business, you can grow your business into a bigger, more permanent business. And finally, is your legacy. You can start earning things that are earning you what is called passive income. You can get property that is earning you rental income. You can get other investments that are giving you investment income. You can find that your children's education is now fully funded. You find that your business is now running well and growing within itself. You have now something that you can leave for your children as a legacy. Okay? The next step is really now just how to start. I think I already said that. How to open an M-Pesa ZD account. It should have been in the previous slide. It's very easy. Go into your M-Pesa app, do *334# or your M-Pesa menu on your Safaricom line, and enter your ID number, accept terms and conditions. Done. You've got an account. Start saving today. I think it starts with 100 shillings. Start saving today, and you will see your money starts growing from the day you put it in. Okay. Then from there, in the next slide, we look at your life. Now let's look at your life in a month, in 4 weeks. Okay. And this is now just to summarize the slides. Starting from today or from Monday, week 1, what have we said we're going to do? We're going to separate and record. We're going to separate our business and our home wallets into 2 M-Pesa wallets. We're going to start recording with your notebook, and we will stop mixing money today. Week 2, we're going to look at our debts. This is now planning week by week. Week 2, we're going to start looking at our debts. List all your debts. Stop using Fuliza for your daily expenses. Call your SACCO today if you need a loan, or if you need to start, not if, you do it to start saving. Call your SACCO today. Ask them what the benefits and what offers that they have and what products that they have. Week 3, start your savings. Open your ZD account on M-Pesa. Put even, let's not start with 50. I think the minimum is 100 shillings. Even set a daily alarm. From there, you can put even 10 shillings. Just start saving daily or weekly. Form that habit. Number 4, we are a community of powerful women. Let us tell one other woman what you have started. Invite her to do it with you so that you have an accountability partner. Very important. Sometimes we can forget or get lazy, or life happens and we stop doing what we started, and we started with a lot of motto. So let's get another woman and start together and have that person as your accountability partner. Okay? Because in the next slide, being International Women's Day, mama biashara ni nguvu ya nchi, si ndio? So we women are the backbone of this nation. But unfortunately, we women are also the ones who are the least financially empowered. And so therefore, as the backbone of this nation, let us start today to be more financially empowered. And it starts with whatever you have, even 50 shillings. So on the next slide, we say we are starting today, not tomorrow, ni leo. 4 actions. I say it again. Separate your money, buy a notebook, open a Zydia, and tell another woman today. The next slide is, where do we get them from? You get them from your ZD and Mshwari, because Mshwari also has savings accounts. You get them from the M-Pesa app. your circle. You can call your circle. You can find out, even if you want to have another money market fund, like let's say CIC, which is part of the circle movement. You can also verify that these funds are actually legitimate, they're actually good, you won't lose your money. You can go into the CMA website, list all the money market funds there. If you find a fund that is not on the CMA list, do not invest. But if it is on the CMA list, go ahead and invest. And then record keeping, very, very important. And finally, ladies, you don't need to start, you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start today. Okay, thank you very much. Now I'll be happy to take any of your questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Ongoi. That has been such an insightful session. We will take the questions now. I am looking at the chat box. I can't seem to find any questions, but is there anyone with a question? Maybe you can raise your hand and then we can take questions now. Anyone? There's someone who had raised their hand to ask a question. Please feel free to unmute and just ask your question. Yes, Marianne.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, good morning. I think it's still morning. Good morning, Marianne.
Mom.
Yeah.
I just I appreciate this lesson, and I've learned a lot of this. And I wish you could have another training session next week. Can you? I really appreciate. Mm.
All right.
Really appreciate.
All right. Thank you so much, Marianne.
I had
Mhm.
starting a business. Yeah, I'm planning some business, and I think this will help me when new business. Mm. Yeah, really think it's
All right. Thank you so much, Marianne. And also thank Yes, 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 yes. We can hear you. Thank you so much for also attending the session. We will definitely try and have another one soon. We cannot promise next week, but we'll definitely try and have another one soon. Yes.
correct.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Uh,
I appreciate.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else in the audience that maybe has a question? We are ready to take any questions now or comments.
All right. Wangoi, I have a question for you regarding what you said about putting 50 or 100 bob as savings for your business every single day before you start uh, maybe sorting out the expenses. So if the business um is on an order basis, yeah. For example, uh you make cakes on order, right? And let's say you don't receive orders every day, but you receive an order maybe twice a week. So do you only save once money comes in, or during those other days, do you go back into the money you've made, the money you have for the business, and take 100 shillings out to save? I don't know if that makes sense.
Uh, Thanks, Melissa. I didn't hear everything, but from what I got is, for example, is an order based. So you get an order, you make an order, then you receive the money after you've made the order. And then, so therefore, how do you save for that? Or how do you pay yourself for that, right?
Yes, especially if the orders are not coming in every day.
Okay, sure. I mean, yes, of course, there is also that option. I mean, you cannot save what you don't have, right? So you obviously have to have the money, and then you pay yourself. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, so depending on how that business looks like, maybe it's a daily business, but as you said in this point for yourself, it is an order-based business. Then as the orders come in, you still need to budget, because even when you made that order, there was a budget for, even when you are pricing that business, you are pricing it to the point that you know how much your expenses are going to be, for example, right? So if you can be able to also price in what your profit margin is, that profit margin for your business or that order should also incorporate a little bit of your salary. Okay. So as the money is coming in, budget that, part of that budget, a part of that selling price will include a bit of your salary. That's how I would look at it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification.
All right. Thank you so much. There's another question in the chat box. Agnes asks, do you recommend life insurance and education policies?
Um, well, yes, I do. So let's just distinguish why we are taking an insurance policy, okay, and an investment, because these are two different things, but sometimes we confuse them. An insurance policy is an insurance, okay? You're taking out an insurance policy in case something happens to you, in case you fall sick, in case you die, in case your business runs into trouble, in case your car gets spoiled, in case, okay? So that's why you're doing an insurance policy. Don't take out an insurance policy for as an investment. So ask yourself the very important question is why. A life insurance is very good because it is a policy that you're taking, especially if you're the income earner for your household and something happens to you. How will my children survive? Okay. So you take an insurance policy because it is in case. But don't think that insurance policy is going to give you 12, 15, 20% return. No, it's not going to do that. You're paying in case something happens to you. It is only when you're gone that your dependents will benefit. Okay. For education, please look at those education policies very well, okay? Because um, I know many people, I've also had an education policy myself. I know many people who get very frustrated. They put money aside, then they realize, oh, I thought I was going to get a big amount of money when my policy matures. Maybe my policy was to mature in 10 years or 15 years or whatever it was. And then you found that the interest on that education policy was very small. The benefit of an education policy is that you are able to also, it's a way of saving a way. So for example, um if you have your child is 5 years old or 10 years old and you want to budget for your education, your child's education for university, okay? So, and that will be in 10 years. So you take a 10-year education policy, you're matching that policy to exactly what you want um, uh, each to pay for, okay? But again, like I said, it is a great saving tool because with insurance, if you don't pay the penalties that you will incur, it is a very good forced savings. Because once you take a 10-year policy, it is very hard to get out of. So for that reason, it's a great saving mechanism for your children's education in 10 years. Are you going to get great interest rates from an education policy? No, because insurance is products don't necessarily give you great interest, but they are. So if you're looking for interest, you need to look at other investment option. But if you're looking at as a savings, so that by the time it matures, or even if you're gone and before it matures, you know that that policy is going to pay you or pay your children's fees. So please look at insurance products and investment products in that line, and then you'll be able to manage both of them very well for your objectives to be met properly, and you won't get disappointed.
All right. Thank you so much. Anyone else with a question? I think that's the only question that we had in the chat box. So in case anyone else has a question, please let raise your hand so that we can close off the session for today. Anybody? No. All right. Thank you so much on behalf of Kianda Foundation, Wangoi Maranga, for today's session, and for everyone that has joined us today. Thank you so much for being part of this. We are really grateful because I know we are all here to learn because we want to grow and we will. And we are very grateful, Wangoi, for also making time for us and just educating us and teaching us what we need to do. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much, everyone, also for joining in. We will see you in the next session. Please look out for any more sessions on our social media at Kianda Foundation and on our website as well at Kianda Foundation. We will be sure to post in case we have any more trainings, and we will for sure have more soon enough. But it will keep you updated also on your emails. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good day.